Donald Trump will decide it's indeed time to make Iran great again.
See, this is what I'm really afraid about, and I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
If you didn't know what the hell we're talking about, over the weekend, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, MAGA, M-I-G-A, make Iran great again. If it sounds familiar, yes, you're right, MAGA, whatever. But this is ultimately the debate about regime change and entering the United States into a ground war in Iran. Again, something Donald Trump campaigned specifically against doing. And I'm going to say we will end up putting boots on the ground because of the fact that Iran is not necessarily a rational actor, right? You would think on the one hand, after 2 weeks of punishing airstrikes from Israel and then the United States dropping bombs, which quite literally have never ever been used before in combat, on their nuclear facilities, they might get second thoughts about, standing up and poking the bear. But again, this is not a Western country. In fact, this is a country that's not even run by the will of its people. It's run by a select cabal of religious zealots. And I do not believe that they are going to see a de-escalatory off-ramp as the right path. I think Iran will do something. And just to point out, we had reports on Sunday from NBC about how at the G7 summit, through intermediaries, the Ayatollah expressed to the United States that if you strike us, we're going to activate our entire sleeper cell network of terrorists in the United States. That's scary to me. And I don't think some type of subterfuge and attack on that in that realm or attacks against U.S. military personnel in the Middle East, Donald Trump is just going to sit back on his hands and be like, oh, well, we tried, right? We're going to war. I don't think it's going to make Iran great again if our history in the Middle East over the last 20 years is any barometer to go off of. And I do think ultimately this is going to be something that bogs down Donald Trump's presidency and sours the nation on the Republican Party heading into the midterms and heading into 2028. Maybe I'm too pessimistic, but again, I lived through Iraq. I lived through Afghanistan. In fact, it's been the bulk of my adult memories, right?
Yeah.
Post 9/11. That's what I'm afraid of the most. And I feel like that's the path we're careening down towards right now.
Look, if Iran had the capability of retaliating in any meaningful way, we would have seen it by now. And the fact is, the resistance has been futile. We've seen it be relatively futile against Israel, and we're much further away. Look, if this were 2023, sure. I believe that it could get really messy. But let's just think about the map real quickly. So you have Hamas that is close to dead and gone, Hezbollah close to dead and gone, and the Lebanese government for the first time in a long time is able to say, nope, you guys are done. Bashar al-Assad, gone in Moscow. As we've already addressed, Syrian government is weirdly friendly to the West now. So that leaves Russia. It's a little busy with Ukraine, a war that it stupidly started, and that leaves China. And we'll get into the China conversation, but the point is that I don't think Iran has the network to retaliate the way it did a year and a half ago. So Donald Trump's correct that the Iranian government is a dumpster fire that is the closest thing to libs love freaking out about The Handmaid's Tale, and the closest thing to the government in The Handmaid's Tale on Earth today is the Iranian regime, right? A radically theocratic regime that will literally beat and murder women for taking off hijab.
Well, it's not even murder because if the law lets them do that, but I think that's a good point. Yeah.
So the reason why I bring all this up is because the American interest is not about having a government that's nice to us. It's a government that cannot harm us. If we take out the nukes, that threat is gone. And I think Trump, just given that maybe he could change his spots now, but Donald Trump has never put new troops on the ground anywhere. He has done these surgical precision strikes before, but he stopped short of putting in new troops and starting a new war, right? We didn't get any new war started under his first term. I don't know why he would start one now. My answer will be that I think the Iranian people will want to make Iran great again. Unlike Iraq and Afghanistan, where the population was not liberalized, it was not westernized, it did not have the appetite for democracy.
I mean, Tehran in the 70s,
Yeah.
in the 60s looked like Paris, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, or the French Riviera, perhaps.
And I have tons of Iranian friends who are Iranian expats, children of Iranian expats. They all know the appetite for a Western government is strong, but that's their job. It's not ours.
Let's finish walking through the exercise, though. Again, I agree with everything you're saying rationally, but let's look at this through the realm of 2025, perhaps an irrational lens. Sure. Do you think we're going to have boots on the ground in Iran?
No.
Okay. Do you think we'll have added boots on the ground in Israel or in Saudi Arabia to bump up our military, enforcement there, essentially?
I'll say no with less conviction.
Okay.
But I think ultimately it will come down to Donald Trump's already made the big show. And again, the reason why peace through strength is a proven strategy is because you only need a couple of shows of strength for people to start taking you seriously. And he's already enforced that credibility. So no, I am willing to be proven wrong, but I hope that I'm right.
Fingers crossed.